how I see this part of the retreat going. So first of all, council's gonna go around. We're gonna talk about our priorities around goals. I would recommend that we take no more than 3 minutes to do that. And again, it's great to have team members here so you get a better idea of where we're thinking about putting our efforts. Then we're going to dig into what the team has done around their retreat and get an understanding of where you guys are focused and what you're thinking. And then at the end, we're going to go through this sheet and kind of meld those together. And so I want to leave, I'm thinking our part's just going to take about 10 minutes, team's part maybe an hour, and then that should leave us time to kind of pull some of that stuff together as we go down the goal list. And that's why I have on the agenda village goal priorities, because it used to be it was council goals and it was staff goals, so, right? And that's not the way that we do it anymore. We need to all work together to accomplish what's reasonable. So I'm going to start, because mine's pretty straightforward. I am going to continue to support a variety of things, which has, I think, is partly my president role, but also just kind of how I operate. So I want to continue to be involved in supporting the zoning efforts. I want to continue to be involved in climate change, in the active transportation piece, and what else did I write down? Oh, and also the finance stuff. All right, I think that there's a lot of stuff we can capture there. But my main priority is going to be on affordability, and I want to look at it beyond affordable housing, even though I know that's a big part. And one of the things that I've started to think about and I want to interact with council and team members about is an affordability action plan that, again, looks at affordable housing, but other things as well. Working with resilient and inclusive Yellow Springs. And I know that all of us are going to intersect on that affordability work, but that's what I'm going to dedicate a significant amount of time to. Kevin.
Alrighty. So I went down the list and in the responsible column and put my name in almost every block. It was not my intention to do that, but just starting with the first goal, I did put myself there because of the action items that we anticipate coming through Inclusive Yellow Springs Coalition. Hey Chief, I didn't acknowledge you. The next one, residential development. Put my name there as well because of my relationship with the Vice Development Corporation, being a critical resource in that goal. For the next one, repair and maintain infrastructure, and certainly concerned about infrastructure, so I put my name there, but in parentheses, meaning tentative. And at the end of the day, I think we'll find if everyone were to approach it in similar fashion, you'd probably put your name on every row as well. But tentative on the repair and maintain infrastructure. I skipped over balanced budget because I leave that for folks who have better brains for that kind of thing. On promoting sustainable growth, there's municipal broadband utility that I'm currently and expect to continue being involved with. Affirmatively marketing the village. I'm interested there for several reasons, but YSDC is one, also DC5 project has been involved with that. So definitely provide support there. Tentative support on the social justice side, just because I put my name down too many times, I think. But I did put my name there, for tentative support. Regarding active transportation, I haven't been that local regarding active transportation in the past, but I'm interested in the sidewalk deal. The little trip that all of us, most of us went on, to look at sidewalks. That really, with Missy, that certainly hooked me. And in fact, I've had a positive sidewalk experience, if you will, in the village, at my home. I had skateboard ramps. The panels were so high But the work that was done, and I think some very unique work, Sway and Johnny and I talked about, taking the sidewalk around the tree and that kind of thing. I think that was, I think that's a good compromise. I gave up a little bit of my yard to save a couple of trees that I really don't like. But I think it was the right thing to do. So I'd like to make sure that there is some momentum, if you will, there. And the next one, deepen environmental resiliency from a personal and a community perspective. I'm concerned about helping facilitate residential solar. So I put my name there as well. And then on the very last one, maintaining village vitality as the council liaison to the chamber, and where the chamber is there as a resource. So I've got that as well. So I don't see that as my being necessarily the heavy lifter, if you will, on each of those things, but I certainly anticipate yielding as much support as I can with each of the things that are listed.
All right, thanks, Kevin. So, Johnny, what we're doing is just going around, the council's talking about where their priorities lay before you guys, before you guys talk. And all you missed me saying was that my focus is on an affordability action plan, and Kevin's prioritizing everything.
Yeah.
But you did pull out specific things.
Right. Indeed.
I'm just razzing you.
No, I appreciate it.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, so hi everybody. Yeah, I guess I'm still kind of in like a learning phase, I guess, and I think I'm probably most interested in what I think of as sort of like what our big picture priorities are, and then how do we find resources for them. So things like affordable housing development, things like infrastructure, things like what else? I don't know. Those are the ones that immediately come to mind. I guess I'm still trying to wrap my head around what are the big needs, and then where do we find the resources for them, which may also include revenue needs at some point. So yeah, I haven't, I don't know, I don't think I was, hopefully I didn't like not do my homework. I didn't go through and put my name on each one. So I'm trying to figure out how to fit in where it makes sense, and just looking forward to working with folks.
All right, thanks, Gavin. Carmen?
So, let's see. I put my name next to the task force, interested in maybe forming a task force to review the best zoning practices. Also interested in the development and finding of infill. And this is all digging under that, affordable housing thing. And then kind of identifying and helping to implement like the zoning improvements, just by digging around the little bit that I have. I've already seen some stuff that I'm interested in learning more about. So also the what's that? The stormwater solution stuff, and working with resources that we have around here, specifically Central State, and trying to establish a relationship with them to work on, a plan to kind of implement some, smaller scale stuff like swales, something that the kids can use as a project. As far as like environmental stuff goes, even like Ellis Pond, I know I'm not supposed to go off on a tangent, but like even Ellis Pond, one of the professors at Central State, that's what she specializes in algal blooms. Just to pool the resources of the places that we have around us, that we could form relationships with, that would be, free stuff.
Yeah, actually, I can't remember if it's still on here, but Marianne has talked about this in the past about, taking advantage and building those regional relationships. So I think that is really important. Great. Anything else?
No.
All right, thanks, Carmen. Marianne?
So I am looking at the rest of my time on council, a year and a half. I'm not gonna run again. And also my age, which has pluses and minuses. And I'm sort of seeing myself as ideally sort of moving back from being a out in front person, pulling people along, to try to sort of get behind and support what other people are doing. So that's sort of one general thing that's going on with me. The other thing that really impacts my thinking and my work is my belief that the world is and this country, but the whole world is heading into darker and darker times with environmental impacts of climate change and loss of biodiversity, plus all the things that we other humans are doing, like the war in Ukraine and killing people in this country and the polarization. So I'm very concerned that over the next whatever period of time, things are just going to continue to get more and more difficult. So how that impacts my thinking for Yellow Springs is the more self-sufficient we can be, the more resilient we can be, whether that's having people who are able to live here and work here and don't have to spend gas to travel, whether that is looking for all the opportunities we have in creating a local and regional food system, because our food system is going to be breaking down, it already is, and how we live, having places for people to live in this community. So specifically, there's nothing on this list that I don't support. I mean, some things I would put higher than others, and some things I think are important. Well, for example, broadband, I think that's really important. And I plan on getting it, but I mean, I'm not personally probably going to be involved in that. So the things that I personally have been working on and continue to plan working on is about housing that's both having a diverse housing stock and also how changes in our zoning can help that. And I think that we need to definitely look beyond the village government for resources in order to do that. And I've been very frustrated about, ever since I've been on council, I've been concerned about housing, and I've been very frustrated about the lack of what has happened. And I know that the whole Ober thing was also a huge, not only divisiveness, but time suck for our staff especially. And how we move forward from that, I don't know. I think we have to, but I understand that it was difficult before. It's maybe even more difficult now. But that is an area that I want to be supportive of. The other area is the climate action work, and I have been working with the Environmental Commission, working with Agraria, Tecumseh Land Trust, and the Glen. We have a working group talking about how to move that forward. I've talked with Josue about that. So that is really a primary interest of mine. And also the Active Transportation Advisory Committee, because I also feel like that fits into the more we can move around without having to use vehicles. Not only is it healthy for us, it's healthy for our village and certainly for our planet. So those are the things that
All right, thanks, Mary Ann. And Denise, Johnny, Matt, Paige, Josue, thank you guys for being here. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing about the work that you guys did on your retreat and trying to get on the same page. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to the team.
All right.
The whole team looks at this way.
Yes. And I think part of why the team is looking at me is because in our retreats, there were a lot of things that we needed to air ourselves. There are a lot of things that we needed to acknowledge for ourselves because we went into that meeting feeling defeated, frustrated, all kinds of things. Reconsidering not just our jobs, but our relationship with the village. Not all of us, some of us. And part of that is because the entire team, now speak for the entire team, we're all committed and we go above and beyond what is asked of us, what is required of us, and at times even within our limitations. And we had a very ambitious year last year. We have an ambitious year this year. And the over thing for us is something that we have not gone over. And we don't know what getting over